Good morning, this is Dr. Turner for Fundamental Mathematics. Today we're going to be finishing out Unit 8 with 8.5, which is looking at spread. In 8.4, we looked at central tendency, which is basically a fancy word for average. We're looking at what the center tends to be. And there are three ways that we looked at doing that: mean, median, and mode. Today we're looking at how far spread out our data is, and there are two common ways to do that. The most common and easiest is range. We're also going to be talking about the second most common, which is interquartile range, often abbreviated as IQR. So for the first, when we are looking at a set of data, and again, we'll just type out a random set of numbers here. It doesn't have to be in order, but for simplicity's sake, they will be on your assignment: 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So range is the easiest way to calculate spread. It's the easiest example of spread. And again, for your definition, you can use the textbook definition if you'd like, or if you want to Google it, but basically range is just high minus low. You take the high value, you take the low value, you subtract those two numbers, that's your range. So on a data set like this, I have a high of 32, I have a low of 8. So if you're asked for the range, all you have to do is subtract 32 minus 8, which would give you 24. That's it. Okay. Do another example here. Let's say we have 16, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29. Same thing, you're just simply identifying what the high and low numbers are. For you, it's going to be already in order, but if it's not, if it's jumbled, you need to be careful and identify your high and low values. Here, 29 minus 13 equals 16. Do another example. Let's say 15, 20, 23, 25, 27. Smaller data set there. Same thing, high minus low, find the high, find the low. Do 27 minus 15 gives you a range of 12. So students are pretty okay with that. Now we get into IQR, which is the other type of average. Interquartile range is defined as being the difference of the quartiles. So interquartile range, or IQR, is going to be the difference of the quartiles, which is your upper quartile, UQ, minus your lower quartile, LQ. In some textbooks, they'll also refer to each of these as quarter 3 and quarter 1, respectively, depending on the text. Now, sounds like a big word. But basically what this is that if we think of the median as being in the middle, or the halfway point of our data set, then the quartiles are a quarter of the way through our data set. So in calculating IQR, the first thing we have to do is identify the median. Remember that median is the number in the middle. So for instance, in the first set of data, 20 is in the middle, and so that cuts my data set in half. Once I do that, looking at the left and right sides, I want to look for the left, the middle of the left-hand side and the middle of the right-hand side. When I do that, I end up with 28 and 12. 28 is the middle of the upper half, and so we call that quarter 3, or more commonly, the upper quartile. 12 is the middle of the bottom half, so that is quarter 1, or the lower quartile. So if I wanted to calculate IQR, once to identify those two values, I'm doing upper quartile minus lower quartile. So here, this would be 28 minus 12, which is 16. Now, depending on the set of data, sometimes the range and the IQR can be very close. Where you would use IQR, or where it would be more advantageous than just looking at basic range, would be when you are faced with an outlier. An outlier is a number that's very high or very low that sets off the rest of your data points. So an outlier can potentially throw your data off a little bit, and that's where you would want to use IQR versus range. Now, we're just sort of introducing these concepts. So, we're just doing the basics here, but they can change a little bit, okay? Let's do another example, looking at the second set of data. Again, we want to divide this in half. So I would find my median, which ends up being 21 in this case. And now I need to find the middle of the lower half and the middle of the upper half. Now here we have an even set of points. 23 through 29 is 4 points, 13 and 19, that's 4 points. Just like we did with median, if we have two numbers that are in the middle, in this case, on the lower quartile 15 and 17, and in the upper quartile 25 and 27, we're going to take the average of those two. Add them and divide by 2, or if you can do the mental math, what number's in the middle? In between 15 and 17, that's 16. In between 25 and 27, that's 26. So to find the IQR here, I would be doing 26 minus 16, which would give me 10. And lastly, we have 23 in the middle, which leaves me with 2 points on the left, 2 points on the right. Even though it's a smaller data set, we're doing the same thing. I want to know the average of 15 and 20, and I want to know the average of 25 and 27. You can add them and divide by 2, or you can do the mental math. My lower quartile ends up being 17.5. My upper quartile ends up being 26. So to find the IQR, I would do 26 minus 17.5, which gives me an IQR of 8.5. That's all for 8.5. If you have any questions, please reach out during office hours. Otherwise, have a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.